it's Desiree and welcome. We are on our last 5 days or videos of our 2023 Christmas series. Now, I saved the concept or prompt word, let's call it that, as vintage. Now, I know when it comes to vintage, you either love it or you hate it. I am that person that loves it, absolutely. But that doesn't mean that you have to apply the vintage to it. I want you again to look at the technique that we're doing. So there's going to be a lot of talking, especially at the end, because I'm going to be using some non-vintage dies, let's say, and turning it into a vintage feel of a card. Now, for those of you that know me, you know that vintage photo is, it's like in my purse. You know, it's like, you know, when we have our purse, we have to have our driver's license. In my purse, I have to have my vintage photo. So you're going to see a lot of that. You don't have to use that. So again, a lot of talking at the end. I do love the vintage grunge, that whole look for any type of card, because it's a technique, like a boho, or it's just a feeling that the card has. We're going to do collaging techniques. We're going to do die cutting techniques. We're going to do background layer techniques. In one of the videos, I'm going to show you how you can use acrylic paints to create your background for color and give that vintage feel. You can certainly use sprays, but maybe you don't have them. We're going to, as you can see here, we're going to stamp when it comes to our image, and I'm going to be using my watercolor pencils for Santa. You know, these images have a lot of detail to them. They're red rubber. So there's really not much you have to do when it comes to color, because the hatching, these fine lines, are already providing the shadow. So you really only need one color, and you're going to get the difference in the gradients for the depth and the shadows of the image. So you'll be seeing that in here. We're going to be doing some embossing. All kinds of different stuff are going to come out through these 5 videos. So even though you may not like the vintage vibe or the vintage look, I hope you'll at least stick around, still watch the videos to see these techniques that you can still apply to your stash. That's what this is all about. Apply it to what we already have. Maybe you have an image that's like this and it's red rubber. Again, with the watercolor pencils or your watercolors or your colored pencils themselves, apply that technique. That's how I want you to view these videos. Okay, so let's get started. We're definitely going to switch over to a voiceover. These videos might be a little bit longer when it comes to this process, and of course Gabby, because that's what I do. I gab. So grab your supplies or get cozy and let's either watch or craft together. All right, so let's get started. Let's get our base set up first. I've pulled in a piece of coffee dyed paper. I bake these in my oven, and no, I don't have a video for this. My kitchen is just not conducive to do this. I'm trying to figure it out, but yep, don't work. And I just use regular, the cheap as you can get copy paper reams, and I just coffee dye it in there. I have a new oven though. I have to figure out if I can, you know, how that's going to work. Anyway, I have a piece of cardstock that I've glued that to. By using the glue, putting it on a piece of cardstock, it wrinkled up, and that's what I wanted it to do. I'm going to use one of my background stamps and just roll that. nothing specific. I don't care what it looks like. I don't want a perfect impression. To me, that's the beauty of vintage. It's not perfect. It allows you to let go. Maybe that's why I love vintage so much. I do. I gravitate to this style. I love the grunge. I love the... I forgot to clean off my glass mat last time. Oh my. I just gravitate to this because it isn't. It's like an art journal page. When you do that, it doesn't have to be perfect. Those little imperfections add so much to it. It just adds interest. Now I'm going to stamp all of my pieces. So the Santa Claus, I'm going to stamp in potting soil archival because I am going to be doing some watercoloring on this. And then, I mean, you could leave the image like that. It's the detail in red rubber stamps is to die for. Again, they are my favorite. They are not the best to store, but they are my favorite. The details that you can get with those stamps are mind-blowing. Now, I'm going to pull in some red inks, and I'm going to pull in some green inks, and I'm just going to stamp these images as well. There's some tickets, there's strips, there's like a check receipt type thing that I will use charcoal. And just stamping them a couple times to get that deep, rich color. And again, there's just nothing. Now, red rubber stamps are not for everybody. And I think mainly because of the storage. They do take up 3 times as much space as a regular stamp set. Now, not so much as a woodblock stamp, but they do. They take up space, but the details, you are not able to get the detail in a polymer stamp that you can in a red rubber. I know some people would argue with me on it, but red rubber is forgiving, meaning you can really press down on a red rubber and you're not going to lose that image. Photopolymer, you will. So it's personal preference. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I want you to use what's in your stash. But it's just something that I do enjoy when it comes to the red rubber. Again, vintage is not about perfection. It's a lot of collaging. It's a lot of faded. It's a lot of antique image. It allows you to just let go. For me, it allows me to just let go and have fun with creating those different textures, which creating those different elements. I don't know where my love of the vintage came from. It may have come from my grandmother and everything that she had, but I do just love it. The other beautiful thing about a red rubber is all the detail that you can get from the stamp, but also when you add color. You don't have to add heavy amounts of color just around the outside because of all of those hatching, those fine lines going on in there. They're already taking care of the shadow. You can see just how much pigment I'm putting down, and it's hardly anything. But watch how this image will come to life. I do not know why my camera is shaking like that. Wow. Have to check into that now. Woo woo. Okay, so sorry guys. Don't need that to shake like that. But again, same process as the snow globe if you saw that. All right, so I'm just going to continue to add my color. sit back, enjoy. Gonna put on a little music so I can save my voice here, because you can hear it's starting to go with all the voiceovers I've done. But guys, enjoy. I'll talk to you once we're back. Got all of our elements fussy cut out. I have a piece of music paper here that I've just torn. I love tearing paper. It is so therapeutic for me. I love it. I don't know why. Yeah. We're going to ink around those edges. Oh, yes. If you haven't seen Vintage Photo, in the next 5 videos, the Vintage Photo, although except one. Well, 2, maybe. It only shows up a little bit, and it was tough to hold back. I do love my Vintage Photo. I think it adds so much to the image. And again, it is personal preference again. A lot of people think the Vintage Photo makes everything look dirty. And I've heard that many times. And absolutely, I'm thinking here, can you tell my fingers are tapping? I'm trying to figure out, because that's the sentiment that I want. So we finally made our decision. So I have the card all laid out. We're going to set that aside. And now we're going to grab a piece of vellum, and we're going to go the whole strength. And of course I have to rip this too. It's the other thing. When you do vintage, you really don't need a lot of supplies, because you don't need a pair of scissors. Just tear everything. And you can make anything vintage. And you'll see that as we go through. Vintage is just a look. It's just something, things that you can add to make something look vintage. Okay? And again, you'll see that. You're not going to see 5 vintage videos using all of Tim Holtz products. Of course, he is the star of this one. I am a fan of the Tim Holtz products. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. But all 5 videos are not going to be his specific stamps. The first video, this one and the last one, I will be using his products. But again, you can take a piece of grapefruit and make it look vintage. I know, strange to say grapefruit, but yes, you can. And again, it's just by giving it a different color, a different look, doing certain things to it to make it look like that. We're going to turn this vellum, this piece of vellum, into a scroll. You want to make sure that you do use tape, and I didn't put it in far enough, so I'm going to do that now with this. And just this tape and a little bit of glue, and using the tweezers, these needle nose tweezers, you can get right in there, push down onto the tape, and then let those tweezers hold on to hold it in place. Again, a little bit of glue, grab the tweezers, and just let that hold there. And I know that's the perfect width that I was looking for. The other things that make something, that can make something look vintage, a card, is metal. Chains, charms, brackets. Those things, brads, those things will make something have a vintage feel as well. So it's like a shabby chic or a boho. They're just things that the way something looks. And I can't think, it's the deco mod. I can't think of that word that I want to use there. So it's a style when it comes to the concept of vintage for me. And as I said, just like I always say with kits, when you get a kit, everything's made to go together. For me, for vintage, everything can go together. Again, whether you have a pink, you know, something that's pink or something that's purple or something that's black or gray, they can all come together and work together when it comes to them. Now, I just added a little bit of glue behind the words. It'll dry clear. I'm going to add glue behind the scrolls, and I'm going to make sure I get my tweezers back into that to set that down. I have all of my pieces in place. Now, I have this leftover holly, and I'm going to form it. I just wrapped it around the tweezers. Now I'm going to grab some glossy accents, and I'm going to put some on a piece of scrap cardstock, grab a brush, and I'm going to paint it onto the holly leaves. This is a great technique because holly leaves have that shine to them. And this is how you can do it with glossy accents. Awesome. I love that technique. And I'm just going to prop that holly right up, coming out of underneath the Santa bag. And we're going to add some glitter stickles for the berries and some red satin. A red satin drop in the center. We're going to try to keep the shape of the berries, but Stickles does not like to keep its shape. So we just make it work the best we can. Oh yeah. Okay. So a lot was going on. And again, this to me is my style of vintage. We've got our collaging going on. We've got a little bit of gold. We've got some background going on. This here is coffee dyed paper. I use this when I do my journals. So I made sure that I put it up onto a piece of cardstock and it wrinkled, and that's what I wanted it to do. So it looks like it's a wrinkled piece of paper along this edge. I definitely did not cut out the center of the mirror cardstock because this would have sunk because of this piece here. And I did not want it to sink down. Did not want that to bow. So again, I look at when I do that and when I don't. These are pieces that I stamped from the set. This is from a separate set, and I created a scroll using the vellum. Again, using tape and glue, using some tweezers just to hold that. For the image here, I stamped it in archival ink because that won't bleed because of the water, the light amount of water that I'm adding to this. This won't run. If I use, of course, the distress ink, yes, that will run because that is water reactive. But you saw when I was applying it, very heavy on the outside and made sure it did go lighter on the inside. But you don't need to worry about multiple colors. You don't need to worry about how much you put down, how much you don't put down. The colors are just going to go into those nooks and crannies, and already because of all the hatching in the stamp set, you're going to have your values. You're going to have those shadows and the depth that you're looking for when it comes to that image. I did fussy cut this out. I apologize, of course. What's a video without me hitting record? Thank goodness I saw it, though, at that time. And again, it's not a fancy fussy cut. It's just going around. And of course, the vintage photo comes around each piece because they're all on ivory. These were all stamped on Bristol vellum cardstock for the stability, for the strength, except of course this music sheet. That's just vintage music sheet that I have, but again, still going around it with the vintage photo just to pop this off. Sometimes I will pull in the black, the black soot to go around the edge to truly frame it. All right, popped him up a little bit on with some low-rise double-sided foam squares. I'm really starting to like those. And then just added some of the ephemera pieces in green and red. I also die cut a holly stem, took a section of it and painted on glossy accents after I cut it down and bent the leaves just to give them some shape, and then tucked that up underneath with some glue. And then once this here dries, it'll just hold all of them because they're very, very fragile right now because of the thin stem that they sit on. But it looks wonderful when you paint on glossy accents, especially to the holly leaves. And it will dry clear, of course. All right, so that is our first video. That's the one that starts us off in our vintage series within our 2023 Christmas series. So again, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope, you know, again, vintage is not for everyone, but if you have a stamp that's like this, that has that detail, it's red rubber, that's usually where you see it. Penny Black has a lot of them. Indigo Blue has a lot of them. That's how I handle adding colors to them, to keep the beautiful artwork that's in that stamp, and just to give it a little bit of colorizing to that. Maybe you have another sentiment that you want to put a scroll, create a scroll. Take that technique. You can stamp images and cut them out. Take that technique. Again, if you're not into vintage photo, if you're not having all of this going on in the background, that's fine. Keep it plain. But just look at what we did to apply it to what your stash has. I do hope you enjoy it, though. And maybe you'll give it a try. But if you have any questions, make sure you leave those down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and make sure you don't forget to hit that bell so that you're notified when the next video is ready for you to watch. Enjoy the process. This might be something new for you. Give it a try. Simply give it a try. And if you don't like it, great. It's just paper that you're trying it with. Okay? If you don't have coffee dyed paper, take some paper, crumble it up, and ink it. Just brush on the vintage photo, and that's how you can get that look. There's different ways to achieve the different styles that are out there and just trying it. But enjoy the process. That's most important. Don't get stressed. Don't get frustrated. If you do, walk away from it. Try something else for a little bit and then come back into it. You'll have fresh eyes and you may see things just a little bit differently. But remember what is most important. Always be creative in everything that you do each and every day. And I will see you for video number 2. I'll see you then, guys. Take care.